Hey YouTubers, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm not scripting out my video today, I'm just gonna kind of go for it and wing it. And today we're talking about Xenoverse 2, and a lot of YouTubers have been talking about this for a long time now, about like what do they want? Do they want different story modes? Like, do they want to see stuff that from like Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Online, different characters, maybe characters from Dragon Ball Heroes and whatnot, all this like what if stuff that we could possibly see in Xenoverse 2. And if you're asking me, there's like one big gripe that I have about any of this game in particular that I just want to kind of go on now, stuff that I would really want to see from Xenoverse 2, and that's like a big revamp of the story mode in general. And I'm not talking about just like more quests or something like Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Online like I've already mentioned. I'm talking about taking concepts that we've seen from other Dragon Ball games and doing them in a kind of the similar way. Because if there's one big thing that I think that we got out of Xenoverse that was really disappointing, was the story mode in general. Because there seemed to be a huge gap in between like what we were promised and what we actually got. Instead of actually seeing this huge what if story that kind of played out in general, we kind of just were passive observers and kind of seeing all the causes without any of the effects whatsoever. So like, what happens if Cell won the Cell games? What happens if Frieza kind of went final form at the very beginning of the fight? All that stuff, we got to see how it would have affected in the moment, but as we played through the game, we stopped that stuff immediately and it didn't have any overall effect in the story. Now that did kind of become a little less true as the game went on, and the whole thing with the whole Bardock and Broly thing were really cool, but we didn't actually get to see a whole lot of that, and then the DLCs were something of their own. And I feel like that's one thing that we really need to kind of improve on when we get to Xenoverse 2, and I'm going to kind of talk about it right now. If you remember in Budokai 3, there was a gameplay mechanic that allowed us to pick certain characters from the Dragon Ball world and play through their story modes through those characters, and we went through the map and kind of picked the certain missions and whatnot, and if you did special things, you unlock special what if battles to kind of get you through that story arc in general. And the thing is, I think I would love to see that in Xenoverse 2. I think one of the things that we missed in Xenoverse was actually playing through the classic Dragon Ball story, and don't get me wrong, I think we have seen that time and time again to the point where it's super boring and going forward and everything like that. But we actually, in my opinion, we need to see that, especially if a game revolves around a lot of time traveling aspects. I think we need to see 3 portions of the game and 3 portions of the storytelling. Plus, this would actually make it really a lot more interesting for us as the player. It would give us a whole lot more reason to level up certain characters, or just like our own character in general. Anyway, I'm thinking like taking the Budokai 3 for example. You would have people like Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, anyone in the Dragon Ball universe, and play through their particular part in the story mode as if you're playing through like a normal Dragon Ball Z game. And then once you unlock that and you beat those particular story modes, then you unlock like an alternative timeline style where we see bits and pieces of the story being changed by Toa and Mira as the time goes on. And we actually get to see this like big what if story play out as if someone had taken the entire concept of Dragon Ball and rewritten it. And then so you're playing through the story again as those characters, and you're seeing how these effects and changes actually affect things. And I'm not talking about as big and dramatic as Xenoverse had it, like what if Frieza went final form? What if Cell just like completely destroyed everyone at the Cell games? What if any of that? I'm talking about really small things. I mean, the stuff that we as YouTubers have talked about time and time again. What if Krillin killed Nappa with the Kienzan? What if Goku killed Frieza with the Genki Dama? What would that mean for the Frieza saga? What would that mean for the Android saga? Any of that stuff. It's not huge. It's not a villain kind of coming and wrecking everyone and just ruining the series from the get-go. There is implications for this that we can see going forward and can carry us through the entire story, just not in the way that we're used to. And I feel like that's one thing that was super missing from Xenoverse, was to actually see these what if stories play out in their entirety, not just these particular scene by scene basis. And then with our created characters, we can take those created characters and go back and play kind of the exact same mechanic as Xenoverse and just kind of stop those little teeny bits. And so you get the entire range of the scope. Kind of like Future Trunks in Dragon Ball Z, where we saw how his timeline played out and how his affecting the timeline actually affected everything around it. This would actually give a really good incentive for Xenoverse's what if storyline that you have to unlock after playing through all the characters, to introduce people like Cooler or Janemba or any of the movie characters, plus anyone in Dragon Ball Super, even earlier, or generally like what if characters, people from Dragon Ball Heroes, people from Dragon Ball Online, everything around that, and it would give us a way to, like, instead of just leveling up our character and having that character affect every other level of every other character that we play, but we can actually level up every single character. So there's actually kind of a level of difficulty when we go online and play against other people. And it would actually give us really a whole lot of incentive to not only play the game, but continue playing the game. I might be a little old-fashioned by today's standards, but I actually think that what makes a game really good is having a solid story mode and something that I can actually play by myself without the need of having to go online and kind of play against people who might be not fun to play with or anything like that. It's not something that I look for in a game. I like something that has a really good story mode, and it's the reason why I bought Xenoverse in the first place. I thought we were being promised this one thing. We didn't get that. I would really like to see something like this implemented into Xenoverse 2 going forward, because we know that we're getting one. I think this game sold like 3.1 million copies or something like that. So it's coming. And I just don't want to send them the message that we want just exactly what we got, but just more of like, oh, just add Super or add Dragon Ball Online or Dragon Ball Heroes or something, and they'll be okay with that. Because it just wasn't good. And there's no reason for me to actually go back and play it again. I haven't. I don't know about any of you, besides like just trying to level up characters and show them on YouTube or just anything. I haven't played through that again. It wasn't fun. I didn't have any fun with it. And I just don't want to do it. This is something that I would do. This is something that I would actually freaking play. And it's something that I think a lot of people would be very excited about. So anyway, I'm rambling. Tell me what you think of this in the comment section below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Have a nice day, everybody.